You know what I want to do? Let's take it back to a classic breakbeat joint and get busy on that. Shout to Breakbeat Lenny and Breakbeat Lou. Come on.
1 2 1 2.
How I hip hop.
Yo,
For my niggas in the bridge.
yo,
For my niggas in the bridge.
yo,
For my niggas in the bridge.
yo.
For my niggas in the bridge.
First off, I want to thank the pioneers for making this possible. Fake humbleness, snake dummy shit is intolerable. Living by principle. Staying honorable, women in swimming suits by the pool. I'ma slide with a few. Every chance was spoiled. No enhancement pill, no dear antler oil, and they pennies for soil. I know some niggas that'll damage your squad. You amateurs play with it, man. I sent savages charge. It ain't no sit downs, too late to fix it. You about to take a visit to your maker. Ass kissing don't make a difference. Cash giving might give you a pass. You can pay me, but I'm too rich now, so all that money you can save it. So get down on the pavement, hanging with Nas, so your homies how your day went. Rocking with Preem is nothing short of amazing. Feel me, I boosted the street rap, the truth over beats rap. The earth been here over a billion years, deep rap. That new S-Class riding music with your seat back. I'm the student who grew up to teach rap. These facts, this that Nas with his teeth crack. I spark their retreats back. The smooth criminal on beat breaks, beat breaks.
How I hip hop.
Yo,
For my niggas in the bridge.
yo,
For my niggas in the bridge.
yo,
For my niggas in the bridge.
yo.
My niggas
In the bridge.
in the bridge.
When I'm quiet, they all fine. I'm out of sight, out of mind. As soon as I'm back on their ass, they bitching and crying. Or how they hate and wanna cause me damage. Just cause the rose is all black, like the space between the stars and the planets. I might just pause a minute. Check the vibe, old school style's been augmented. You heard everything to Nas, vocal cords hit it. Good lord, now is it me or is they hard-headed? Primo beats of water, let your thoughts dissolve in it. Remember Nas like a father to the fatherless. We take the pain, smile, and mix it with street knowledge and hop the turnstile back when I was a problem in. Envy your hot tops, I should have been modeling, model citizen. They say I'm crying victim just cause I'm spitting lines to get me some ends. 1200 to mix up. Plug my mic in, holding my mics like I'm hugging lightning. The concrete breaks. Get slapped by the sound waves from the early days. Feel it in your vertebrae. Go DJ. The smooth criminal on beat breaks. Beat breaks.
How I hip hop. For my niggas in the bridge. For my niggas in the bridge. For my niggas in the bridge. My niggas in
Peace, family. Welcome back. I apologize for the technical difficulties, but we got that squared away. The link is in the chat. The link's in the description. My apologies for not having that squared away before time. Of course, I'm human, so I make mistakes. D1 Beats, peace, brother. Hope you could tap in and be part of the conversation. Also, part 2 of our conversation regarding the Nation of Islam cult or community is coming up Sunday at noon. Make sure you hit the subscribe button as well as the notification bell on our channel so you could be part of that conversation this coming Sunday, August 18th at noon. Mr. Sandman, the conversation for today is hip hop dead? What say you?
Yeah, man, that's a hard question to answer. I mean, I guess you have to start by defining what is hip hop. You know, can you define it?
Well, yes. Well, hip hop is a genre and subculture of music. First musical genre created by African people in the West who did not live or grow up under de facto or de jure segregation. We know that there are 5 aspects of hip hop culture: DJing, MCing, breaking, many would call it b-boy or b-girling, graffiti, and then of course last would be the clothing or knowledge of the culture itself.
Yeah. So I look at it. I see what you're saying, but the way I used to look at it is when I try to because I know Mr. Sandman. That sounds like a weird name, but I actually used to be an artist, a rap artist. Yeah, and I even had like a little rap group way back in the day, back in high school and stuff like that. So when I made this YouTube page, I just figured I'd just use my old rap name just for shits and giggles. You know what I mean?
Very good. So I gotta ask this question. What you said you had a group? So were you the DJ or were you an MC?
I was an MC. I was a rapper. Yeah.
Okay. So can you drop a freestyle for us?
Yeah, sure. With a beat, you want a beat or just acapella?
I could give you a beat. Hold on. Let me give you a beat. Hold on. Let me give you a beat.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. The beat's a little fast, but I gotta catch it.
You want a slower one?
No, that's good. That's good. Almost got it.
I have a cipher out here.
Okay. Yo. I spit that mean just to get that cream. That's so sick and mean. So dip it lean. Cause a pimp the scheme. A crip get fiends. But I just rip the seams off the rims of your beams with these hooks and lines. Yeah, it took some time just to book these lines and shook your mind. You see this heart of mine had to walk with God. I used to spark the line to get crucified. They say hip hop dead. But this I said. Hip hop says you get that dead. Pip that dead. The wrist got flared. The chick got shades. The Christian need. Fist not dead. And I'm not dead.
Very nice, very nice. Listen, you do better than I ever could. I've never been a rapper, ever. Matter of fact, sometime around the house, I would try to rap, and my daughter would say, "Stop it before you hurt yourself." Like literally, she was like, "Stop it before you hurt yourself." Then my son would say, he would tell people if he's rapping and it actually sounds halfway decent, it's not his bars, it's somebody else.
Right.
They actually would say that. So shout out to you. Appreciate that, man. You know, because part of being an MC is being able to rap on demand, on call, extemporaneously. That's part of what it means to be an MC. And as you know, back in the day, to prove yourself as an MC, you had to be able to rap on demand in the community, right? And then the community, you made your bones in the community. And then, of course, people then validated you as an MC. So I appreciate you doing that. So the question is, once again, family, if you're watching, let's get those thumbs up. Let's get those likes up. We got far too many likes right now. Get those likes up. Hit the notification bell and the subscribe button. Lumumba Speaks, we're on our way to 3,000 subscribers. Beatcoin Network, we need 1 million, right? We're doing the dual stream, as you know, Lumumba Speaks, the home, where we believe we gain a competitive for always betting on Black. And, of course, Beatcoin Network, the Pan-African social media extraordinaire, the home of African-centered news and information. Make sure you subscribe and like both channels. Mr. Sandman, is hip hop dead?
All right. So yeah, after your explanation and my little freestyle or whatever, and the way I see it, right, I look back at it, right, and they used to call like Michael Jackson the king of pop, right?
Yes, they did.
So if you listen to his music, after he left the Jackson 5,
Mm-hmm.
all of his music was digitized. If you recall, like it came this era of music where particularly the Michael Jackson, the Madonna era, where all of the music started getting played like off of computers. You know what I'm saying? Like I think the whole entire Thriller album was like that.
Right.
Didn't really have any live instruments.
Right.
So,
yes, I know what you're talking about now. Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's like when I think about hip hop, I think it's like an extension of pop music, whereas though everything is digitized, because like all of the beats that Kanye West or all of the MCs, they make beats off of electrical off of the computer. You know what I mean? It's digitized music, with loops, and then you just get an MC that just hop on the beat and just start rapping to it. So that's the way I look at hip hop. And then it's the genre itself and what they're talking about. So back then, we talked about whatever was going on in in our neighborhoods or in the Black culture back in those days, and we just expressed it over the those digitized beats. But nowadays, we're not really in the street no more like that, and we don't know what these young people doing in the streets. So I guess they trying to express themselves in whatever way they see fit. But I don't know that world that they live in, so I don't really understand where they're coming from. It seems like foreign to us,
Right.
So I don't know if they going into the booth rapping about what they really doing, or they just making some BS up. You know what I mean? So it's a sign of the time.
You talking about CB4 basically, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. I mean, I think that is a good point. You know, when we talk about some of the early age of hip hop, some people call it the golden era. Typically, as an MC, to get put on, as we would like to say, you had a mentor, right? You think of someone like Nas, it was MC Search, right? If you think of even someone as Jay-Z, these are two most prominent, or you could argue most successful African American MCs. Jay-Z went from hanging from Herb to Big, to even Big Daddy Kane, right? So you typically, you know, 50 Cent was a Jam Master Jay, and then of course Dr. Dre and Eminem put him on. So we tend to typically find someone's putting you on. And I don't know if that's the case now. Typically now, you know, some people are releasing music on social media. Not to say that's a bad thing, because I think it speaks to, you know, of course, African ingenuity and the ability to really break down walls and barriers, right? But I do think that, unfortunately, part of what we're finding, the message has become diluted, right? So let me see. D1 Beats, he states, the original expression of hip hop has been diluted into promoting criminal lifestyle and materialism to escape there in conditions which is considered mainstream rap. I think that's a great point. Great point, but D1 Beats. And if you could, I know you're probably at work, but if you could tap in and be part of the conversation. I remember when I had my nonprofit Pan-Africanist organization, the CAU, Coalition of African Unity, one of our brilliant, powerful sisters, Sister Monica Thomas, she talked about how, unfortunately, in hip hop now, what they're promoting is consumerism, right? And so she said, of course, for African Americans, this is not something that's beneficial for us to engage in consumerism, to be materialistic. The other issue that we find in Brother D1 Beats brilliantly summed this up in his comment is promoting a criminal lifestyle, right? We see this concept of criminality being cool, it being romanticized, right? And we typically don't find the concept of criminal behavior being romanticized until post the civil rights movement. So we saw this particularly with Black exploitation movies, right? And so then we see later down the line, we see a criminal lifestyle being romanticized through, of course, rap music and hip hop. We even see some R&B songs even promoting this concept of the one in the thug. I think Sierra had a song, Can't Leave Him Alone, where she talked about, you know, I tried the good boy. Matter of fact, let me see if I can bring up the lyrics to Sierra's song. Sierra, Can't Leave Him Alone lyrics, right? She says, yes, that he does it with the best, runs it in the West, tatted on his chest. I like it. Can't leave him alone. I tried that good boy game, but the dope boy's turning me on. It's just that he know what I want so bad. I love that I can't leave him alone. So we see even in R&B, right, promoting this concept of wanting to be with a criminal. But we all know, of course, as mature adults, that you can't sustain anything rooted in criminality. John Gotti, he was known as the Teflon Don, right? He stated, it's a great life until you get caught. And he says the issue is eventually you're going to get caught, right? So this is an issue. I think many of the rappers that, you know, I grew up listening to, Nas was even one, even though he promoted a lot of consciousness in his music, he also promoted, you know, a street mentality as well. I think of one Cameron, you know, 50 Cent, etc., promoting this type of criminal mindset. Now, I can listen to that music when I work out, but for a young person whose mind is still developing and who was extremely impressionable, it creates a problem. What say you, Mr. Sandman?
Yeah, I mean, we all have like our higher and our lower selves. So there's a part of us that enjoys like the intensity and the messiness of like gangster rap and stuff like that. I think all people enjoy like a little aggressive, violent music a little bit every so often. You know, I think that's in our nature a little bit. But as far as like young people being impressioned by it, I mean, I was young and I used to listen to some thug music, and I probably was impressionable by it. But you know, I still had to live under my parents' home, therefore I had to abide by their rules. So
right.
If there was nobody there to watch me, you know what I mean, then I guess, you know, I could just run wild, you know, and just let nature takes its course. But, you know, because I had a parent that had the rules of their own house, if I wanted somewhere to live and food to eat, then I had to abide by their rules. So I think there's a limit to it, you know what I mean? Yeah, children or young people can be impressed with the music or be impressionable by the music, but if they do have normally if they have a father in the house, that will prevent them from going down that way,
Now,
the path.
now you said father. Why did you
Right.
focus on father rather than simply saying parents or mother?
Well, I have a tendency to believe that, you know, once a young man, you know, his puberty, and you know he got like a whole lot of testosterone running through his veins, you know, he have a tendency to, you know, I don't know, kind of bulk the system and stuff like that. And you know, mothers really love their sons and they let them get away with some things. So if if the boy doesn't have a man in the house, then, you know, he's probably going to, you know, get out in the streets and do what they want to do and not really listen to what his mother is telling him, you know. Or if, you know, a lot of times what happens in a lot of situations is, you know, if the father wasn't involved in the child's life, then a lot of times the mother have animosity towards the child and not really pay attention to him either. So he might be under his mom's parental supervision, but she's not really engaged with the child either way, you know what I mean? So he really doesn't have any parental guidance. So that happens a lot too, you know. So with no parental guidance, he just listens to the music and get into the street, and you get to hanging out with other misguided young people, and they, you know, they just raise hell, I suppose.
Right. And so that is a serious issue. Typically, at some point, the young man realizes that he's bigger and stronger than his mother, and that creates an issue. We do know that in our culture, and by our culture, I'm referencing traditional African culture. By traditional African culture, I mean African culture independent of European and, of course, Arab influence. We find that in our culture, the boys are separated from the mother at some point in order to engage in manhood training and become a man. So I think that's a good point there. I think the reason why I kind of flesh that out is because most people say, "Oh, he's being sexist, he's being misogynistic, he's being patriarchal." When the reality is, this is our cultural way of rearing boys into masculine manhood. So, just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, technically, you know, once he gets past puberty, I mean, by law, he's not a man, but you know, by biology, you could consider him one.
Yes. And of course, D1 Beat says, I believe the powers that be diluted the initial expression of hip hop, starting with NWA. So let's talk about who are the powers that be. We can unpack that. And of course, you say, ironically, about Dr. Dre and whole gangster rap genre that influenced East Coast as well. So something to, of course, consider when we talk about is hip hop dead? Absolutely something to consider when we talk about is hip hop dead.
Yeah, I mean, they try to say that NWA were the ones that started gangster rap,
Yes,
but I believe that it started, you know, before them. Or there was a couple of songs that a lot of people didn't hear that was like you could consider was gangster before NWA hit the scene. I think Ice-T had some gangster hits.
Yes,
even before. And even before him, there was another MC. I can't remember their name. They're from Philly. I forgot the name of that song. Oh man. See, this is even before my time. This is like the mid 80s. Man. If you look up like
I know what you're talking about. I can't remember the group, but I think they're from Philly, right?
Right, yeah.
Right.
And they some people like to credit them with the very first people to start gangster music as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So but yeah, you know, I think KRS One, he was He was one of those MCs who was like more of a conscious rapper.
Right.
You had like what do you call those guys? What's that group that said "Fight the Power"?
You're talking about Public Enemy. You're talking about Schoolie
Public
D.
Enemy.
And you're talking about Schoolie D.
Yeah, Schoolie D. Yeah, they were
Yes.
the guys who made the first gangster song, I believe it was
Right.
called.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Schoolie D. Yeah. And Public Enemy, they was conscious rappers, you know, back in the 80s and stuff like that. So once they got away from that, you know, De La Soul,
Right.
Tribe
Called
Called Quest.
Quest. Yes. Digital
Yeah.
Planets. And matter of fact, a good example, when we talk about Digital Planets, I remember they talked about, because, you know, there was a show on Digital Planets on TV1, you know, and they talked about how, you know, and I used to listen to Digital Planets in the mid-90s coming up. They made great music, you know, critical acclaim. The Juggernauts, the Machine talks about the Juggernauts. However, what ended up taking place was they stated the label tried to put pressure on them to make more commercially oriented music that promoted, of course, criminal behavior and living a sexually promiscuous lifestyle. We saw the same thing even with the group, the Black Eyed Peas, where the female lead was a Black woman. And the record executives, white man in suits, said, hey, you're not Black enough because you're not talking about shaking your ass. So I think that would speak to what the D1 Beats was referring to when he talked about the powers that be.
Yeah, I agree. You know, it's hard to say. I mean, who was the first MC you would say like started making some real serious bread in the rap game? Would you say it's like LL Cool J, or what MC would you say was making some serious bread?
Yeah, I think LL was the first solo artist to go platinum. Don't quote me on that, but I think he was. I don't know if he was, but I think he was.
Mm-hmm. And then the next artist probably was like NWA with Eazy-E and all them, was making a lot of money.
Right. MC Martin Machine says MC Shan brought a positive message.
Yeah. Like the conscious rappers that was in my era. I liked the Roots, Black Thought.
Yeah, Black Thought, right.
And also like the one dude from New York. Oh man.
You talking about Rakim?
Talib Kweli.
Talib Kweli, okay, Rakim.
And Mos Def.
Right, Mos Def, absolutely.
And I thought that Big Pun, even though you might consider him a gangster rapper, I thought he was a very talented MC too.
He was very talented. Yes, he was the first Latin American artist to ever go platinum. Right? Yeah, Big Pun. So shout out to Big Pun. May he rest in peace. You know, he's one of the hip hop ancestors, right? A Big Pun. Yeah, I remember. I think I was in high school when "I Don't Want to Be a Player No More" dropped.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah, I remember that. That went hard. I think it was my freshman year of high school when that dropped. So definitely want to give a shout out to Big Pun. And so we know that not all of the MCs are going to make socially conscious music, right? And because that's part of the diversity of the genre, right? I think, because I mean, we even had like rock hip hop, right? And many people talk about, I think, the Beastie Boys, right? The issue and concern, I would argue, is that the majority of the music that's being created and, of course, disseminated for public consumption is negative. It's promoting disempowering, self-defeating, and self-destructive behavior.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know what it is about that. You know, it just seems like, you know, when it comes to music, you know, but particularly if you're talking about a music like hip hop, no one is really interested in like banging some conscious music when they go to the club or when they driving in their car. You know, they really want to listen to conscious music when they want to mellow out or something at home. So if it's something social bonding in between human beings at some house party or club, is always like, you know, some type of ratchet behavior that they want to be like the narrative of the music for whatever reason. I don't know what it is about.
And I think I don't mean to cut you off, but I think a good example would be, we talk about Lil' Kim. would argue that Little Kim was the forebearer of many of the female artists that we see today. But not all of Little Kim's music was overly raunchy and sexual.
No.
Right.
And
So it's I think I was listening to the Breakfast Club, and I think they said Cardi B released a new song or a single, and it was the same old, just the debauchery. I'm like, dude, can you talk about anything else?
mhm.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, I feel like even before Little Kim, I thought that it was Salt and Pepper who started to sexualize um female rap artists before Lil Kim. I think Lil Kim was influenced by Salt and Pepper. You know, they
Right.
had
Well, yeah,
like some
you
raunchy
can make that
music prior
argument.
to
Push
them.
it real good. Push it
Yeah.
real. Yeah. So, but they
Mhm.
also, what a man, what a man, what a mighty good man. Say it again now. So that's the early 90s. I remember hearing that growing up.
Right.
B1 Beat says, to be fair, the cause of the negative content in hip hop, it's a reflection of the daily reality our people go through. So I really hope you could tap in, because I would beg to differ there. I don't think our people are this is the daily reality of what our people go through. I would argue that what we find our people seeking to imitate art. And I'm gonna give you an example of that. Then we're gonna get to you, Eric B. Hopefully you can tap in and be part of the conversation. The link is in the chat. The link is in the description. But I remember I was at the barbershop. This is probably around the time that the Notorious B.I.G. movie came out. There's a scene in the movie where B.I.G. was hiding some of the drugs underneath his bed. His mother thought it was food and threw it in the trash. And my barber told me how he had a young man show up to the shop. He's cutting his hair, and he gave the same story. And so he knew he got this from the movie. So I would argue that what we're seeing a lot of times is art imitating life. I can even remember the artist Tara Marie. She was formerly signed with the Rockefeller, and she, they dropped her because the first album didn't sell well, and she went independent. She was making a lot of what I would argue ratchet music, and that she was on a TV show, and they asked her, "Why are you making this type of music?" She said, "Well, this is the type of music people want to hear." I would beg to differ. I would argue that, as D1B said, it's the power brokers in the industry that are telling you to make this music, rather than that this is what the people want to hear. So I think that's something to consider.
Yeah, and you're right. You're 100% right. It doesn't have to be ratchet. I think it's the power brokers to a certain extent, because you listen to some other music created by Africans, whether it be reggae or some Afro beats that can talk about like subjects that aren't violent or socially disenfranchising to yourself.
Right.
You can still have positive topics and still have a hopping beat that you can dance to, you know what I mean, or listen to while you driving.
Right.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Eric B says there's a reason why Drake is so popular. Most fans like the catchy hooks and melodies versus songs that make you think. I would agree. That was the big debate between Jay-Z and Nas. A lot of people said, there were a lot of rappers who said that women would tell them, I don't want to have to think when I'm listening to a song. Right? This is why Nas called Jay-Z a pop artist. Right? Mm-hmm. So this is an issue that is still prevalent and relevant today.
Yeah, Nas and Jay-Z, as a matter of fact, they both of them in their earliest music, particularly with Jay-Z, they had like a very broad vocabulary. And if you weren't like a read up person or a person who familiar with like complex languages, complex English, you probably wouldn't comprehend everything that they were getting at. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't just the double entendres or the metaphors, similes, and stuff like that. It'd be like complex topics, that'd be a little advanced. The people that really be in the streets sometimes, or only them will understand.
Right. Right, and a good example would be Cameron had a song where he was featured on a song by Jim Jones, where he says, he said, "Baby, I don't do the drugs. Baby, I move the drugs. Right on the computer love. It sounds like computer love." Right? He says, I put your face on the block in front of H on our block. See the face on my watch. Put your face on my. Right. So you see that type of wordplay. Right. And you talk about computer love. Well, we know that was a song by Roger Troutman back in the day, computer love. Right. So if you get it, you're like, oh man, that was dope. Right. But if you don't get it, it's like, I just want something that's catchy to sing along to.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So a lot of women, they just wanted to go out and dance to the music. They don't want to listen, think about it, you know.
Right. Right.
Right. Yeah.
So, family, if you're watching, make sure you hit the like button, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Hit the subscribe and notification bell. You're watching Lumumba Speaks, the Black Empowerment Initiative, where we believe we're getting a competitive advantage by always betting on Black. In Bequaline Network, the Pan-African social media extraordinaire, the home of African-centered news and information. We want to make sure we get to 1 million subscribers. So make sure you're subscribing and share. The conversation this evening is hip hop dead? We're talking about hip hop versus rap and a number of other issues. The link is in the description. The link is in the chat. Tap in, be part of the conversation. You do not have to cam up. You do not have to use your actual name. You can use a pseudonym to protect your identity. Tap in, be part of the conversation, and let's talk about is hip hop dead?
Yeah. So do you listen to any new artists?
I listen to a little J. Cole, but actually I don't listen to a lot of new artists. No, I don't.
Yeah, me neither.
I'm just gonna be, it might just be a generational thing, but like I grew up on lyricism. Like when I first started listening to hip hop, I listened to nothing but East Coast artists. Period.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
for me, if you're not lyrical, like Young Jeezy, he made some good music, but I couldn't really get with him because he wasn't lyrical. Right? He was known for his ad libs rather than the lyrics.
Right, right.
So for me, I'm like, yeah, this isn't going to work for me.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, so yeah, a lot of down south artists, you know, they don't really get into a lot of complex, you know, wordplay when they rap. You know, there were some down south artists that did, like Outkast.
Right.
You know,
T.I., he's a bit of a lyricist.
Yeah, they have broad vocabularies. I thought that Wu-Tang were way ahead of their times.
Oh, this is very true. Very true. Very true.
Yeah, they were really deep. You know, they was talking about stuff that, you know, I'm just now starting to realize. You know, I'm saying they was talking about like Asiatic black man this and Egypt that, and I mean, especially that guy, the Jizza, the genius. Yeah, he got into some really deep topics. You know, and then you think about like the way because when I used to rap, like my producer who used to make all of our beats for us, yeah, we used to just sit in the studio for hours and just listen to beats, make beats, and then start writing and stuff like that. And then you start to like study rappers and the way that they put together their flows, you know, because the way a rap song is created is, you know, when someone's making a beat over a beat machine, it's like a loop. And that's what I was talking about before when we was talking about the difference between live music and digitized music.
Right.
The digitized music goes into a loop. It's like a 4-8 bar loop where they keep repetitively, where the producer will create like a beat or a drum roll or a key, and he'll play it over 4 bars or 8 bars or, you know, 4, 8, 12 bars, and just keep re-looping those same bars that he created over and over again. So what happens is when you're a rapper and you want to make your song be on beat, you gotta like position your bars within the pace of the beat that the producer created the beat. That's what I was saying before when you asked me to freestyle. I was saying that beat was a little fast because I was trying to catch the beat so that my bars ended on the loop. So yeah, so like if you listen to a lot of these artists, you know, even the younger ones, the newer guys that rap now, you can tell that, you know, they understand the science of making, you know, the rap song, but their actual content is like kind of stupid and not in depth or thought provoking, you know. And back then, you know, those guys were just such scientists with the way that they used to, you know, not just dance across the beat, but the way that, you know, they used to make like metaphors or double entendres, triple entendres.
Right.
you know, the wordplay, you know, all of that is just it's just a certain talent. And you even notice like a lot of these artists, for the most part, you know, all genres of music are basically the same thing, you know. It's just the way that they're um it's the rhythm at which you express the music, you know. So basically if it's R&B, they rhyme too, you know. Like you could take like I don't know, like a R&B song like like Boyz II Men. They say, although we've come to the end of the road and I can't let go, it's unnatural. You know, it's the same thing as they rhyming, go, roll, or they trying to make those words rhyme or sound like they rhyme. You know, it's just the pace at which they're singing it, they're harmonizing it, as opposed to if a rapper was to rap the same thing, he would say, although we come to the end of the road, can't let go. Although we come to the end of the road, can't let go. Although we come to the end of the road, we can't let go. You know, it's just the pace that they say it in, you know, and the rhythm and the way they harmonize it. So, or if you wanted to say that same song and sing it like, you know, if it's a country song, you know, you could say, oh, you know, like, you know, you get some like hillbilly type voice and, you know, over like a hillbilly beat, and you could say the same lyrics as Boyz II Men, but over like, you know, some country music. So it's all it's just the way that the music is expressed in the stylations of the way that they express it that changes the genre. But what I love the most about hip hop music is how the different ways that they can put the music together, you know, over the beat, make double entendres, different flows. You can go to a slow flow, mix it up with a tongue twister flow, then back down to a slow, to something medium, and just talk about anything you want to talk about. That's why I like hip hop or rap music was my favorite music.
Brother Eric B, go right ahead.
Oh, yeah, I'm hey, can you hear me okay though?
Yes.
Okay. Um yeah, I'm at work, man. I'm not gonna stay too long, but I just wanna say what was I gonna say? Oh, yeah, a lot of rappers they want to you know, like rap conscious. They want to do conscious, but they you know they're afraid that if they go that route, they won't be successful. They won't get airplay. You know, um, because of the powers that be, they control hip hop, right? And there's a reason why Sexy Red and all these, you know, um, poor quality, you know, rappers are you know making money and getting airplay and all that on the radio, you know. So man, it's just it's terrible right now, man. It's just oh, I just I used to love hip hop, but not now, man. It's just it's sad, man. It's sad. It's sad. Yeah, that's all I wanted to say, though, man.
Why do you think things are the way it is now?
Uh, well, you know, the powers that be, man, they got the control. You know, they got the money, the power, and you know, like Jay Z. Jay Z even said it. He said he would love to rap like um, Common and uh, Talib Kweli and all that, but you know, nobody's going to listen to him.
Well, you know, that I actually would disagree. Right. I know he said it. He says, I used to rap like Common since I did 5 mil, and I haven't been rapping like Common since. However, there are only two artists the artists. Let me see if I can put this the right way. The two artists that have the most platinum albums in hip hop history are Jay-Z and Nas. Nas didn't make commercial music, and he has the second most platinum albums ever of all time. So the argument that he had to make this type of commercial music where he's promoting criminal behavior and being overly sexual is not factual. For example, a lot of people say, was it Cardi B or I don't know which one, Meg Thee Stallion, Nicki Minaj, one of them. They said, well, she sold X number of albums, so she had to do this to sell. Lauryn Hill has the record for the highest selling album by a female hip hop artist. And she didn't take her clothes off or engage in that type of ratchet type of characterization of herself. So we know that that's not true. Talent sales.
Okay, see, here's the thing though. I agree with you, but you're missing a little something. Okay. Okay, you said Nas and Jay-Z made
they have the most platinum albums.
Platinum album. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. What year did Nas had his best success? What year would you think that was?
Man, I don't know, because Illmatic went platinum. It was written with double or triple platinum. I Am went double platinum. Nostradamus went platinum. Stillmatic went double platinum. Godson went platinum. Streets Disciple went platinum. Hip Hop Is Dead went platinum. The Untitled album went platinum. So,
okay. So what I'm trying to say is, back in the day, yes, but now in the past 10 years, I don't hear, when Nas drops an album lately, I don't hear him on the radio. He gets very little airplay. It's like things are different now, man.
Well, I mean, but part of that is, I think he's 50 years old. So, I mean, even though he's still making good music, I think one of his last albums, I think King's Disease 2, debuted at #1 on the charts.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, because he dropped 6 albums in 3 years, right?
Wow.
And they all were phenomenal. But I think part of it also is, the radio, they're going to cater to a younger demographic.
Yes, that's a fact.
So I think that is an issue as well. So I think that's something to consider.
Yeah, but it's just sad to me that that we just don't have the artists that came out in the last maybe 6-7 years. I mean, there's no substance to their lyrics. That's the problem I have. Like, man, we just don't have the same quality, that we used to have. That's
right.
That's the sad part about it. I can't name one artist in the last 5-6 years that came out that I truly, respect and love. I mean, I can't think of one right now. That's how bad it is. When you can't think of one,
right?
I'm still trying to think of one. I just can't do it. No, I don't. The last great artist that I could say that I listened to and I appreciate was like Kendrick, J. Cole, the artists that came out around that time, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a Drake fan. Drake is like a pop artist to me. He's not.
Yeah. Even my daughter says he's not a rapper.
No,
she even said that.
Absolutely not.
She's like, he's not a rapper. He's a singer.
When he made that song, Started From the Bottom, now we hit. I'm like, whoa. You didn't start from the bottom, Drake. You grew up in Canada, in the all Jewish neighborhood. You know, rich neighborhood. What you mean he started from the bottom? That's when I knew he was corny. I'm like, nah, get out of here, man. No,
Gotcha.
but yeah, man. But I'm enjoying the show, man. Like I said, you know, I'm at work. I had to just chime in a little bit, but you know, great content, man. You
I
know,
appreciate it.
yeah,
I
man.
hope you can subscribe and follow.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Yeah, I try to, you know, I try to listen to you whenever whenever you come on, and even if I'm busy, man, you know, I have my headphones on, listening, you know. But yeah, keep doing your thing, man. I hope your channel will grow, man. You know, you know, so everybody can see that you know you got something to offer, you know.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. One of the brothers was telling me that for a lot of people, the way that they grow their channels by attacking other black people, and that's not something that I'm interested in doing.
Right,
Right.
right.
That's not my thing. I'm not into that type of self-defeating,
Mm-hmm.
disempowering behavior. Right. We can have critiques. We can have educated, intellectual conversations over a myriad of issues, like we did last Sunday regarding the Nation of Islam, and we're going to continue to do part 2 this coming Sunday. But I'm not into attacking other black people, particularly for a platform. In fact, some people are arguing, there was a sister who even made the argument that for some people, their social media presence is their accomplishment. It's not. It's something that I do, right? But it's not my accomplishment. My accomplishment is the work that I do in the community.
Right, I feel you, man. Man, see, if more people had integrity like that, man, we'd be all right. Hey,
Understood.
what can you say, man?
Understood. Well, yeah, I mean, I think I would argue, it all starts at home, right? And I
Right.
always tell people, give thanks for my parents. You don't typically give thanks for your parents when you're a child, right? But
Right.
but I can say that for me, growing up, my parents practiced accountability with all of us. There was 3 of us. I was the baby. My sister was the oldest. It was my brother, then myself. And if we were in the wrong, our parents didn't take up for us ever in any situation. But if we weren't in the wrong, our parents went to bat for us like they were Ken Griffey Jr.
Right.
Right.
Same
And
with me.
so,
Same with me. I
right.
had
So
both
that
mom
type
and dad at home.
of
Yeah.
accountability also shaped my morals regarding integrity. So, hey, if you're doing something wrong, I'm not going to take up for you. Right. I even dated a woman once, but she's like, well, why won't you take up for me? I said, because you're in the wrong. Right. What, that sets a bad precedent. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, as you can imagine, that relationship didn't last long.
No.
It didn't last long at all.
Right. I feel you, man.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, man, I'm gonna hop off and
Okay.
but I'll continue to listen though, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know, appreciate you letting me on,
No
man.
problem. I appreciate it.
Okay. All right. Peace out.
Mr. Sandman, what's the word?
Yeah, I mean, make no mistake about it. Even though we don't really like this newer music or these newer artists, making music is a talent,
Yes,
and a
it
lot
is.
of these people, they were born with this innate talent to, create music and do it over a beat. And even a guy like Drake, who I don't really listen to his music or a big fan of it, but his father was a musician, so that's something
Right.
that he inherited.
Mm-hmm.
Nas's
Yeah,
father was
his
a
father was
jazz.
a musician. Yeah.
Nas's father was
I
a
think Rakim's mother was a singer.
yeah. I even Biggie Smalls. His mother was from Jamaica, I believe,
Yes, she
and his
was. Yeah.
uncles were jazz artists in Jamaica as well. So it's something that gets passed down, from generation to generation, where it's something you inherit, that ability to dance across a beat
Mm-hmm.
on rhythm and make music, and if you have that talent, even if you're talking about, something stupid or like they do nowadays, those kids were, just born with a special talent to create that
Right.
music. So in that sense, I respect it, and even me, I'm even my uncles were in the music business as well. Like I don't know if you ever heard of like Philadelphia International, but like back in the 70s, those people was like the Motown of Philadelphia.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
am familiar. Matter of fact, because yes, I'm familiar because my father, he told me that when he was growing up, his favorite song was "Me and Mrs. Jones,"
Mm.
and that was a song by I forget the
What
brother's name.
was it Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes?
No,
Hmm.
yeah, "Me and Mrs. Jones" by Billy Paul.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that brother was from out of Philadelphia, right? The Philadelphia soul sound. Most people are familiar when you think of soul music with Motown, but Philadelphia had a thing moving as well.
Right.
And
Yeah,
so
my
yeah,
uncles was a part of
Me
that
and Mrs.
movement.
Jones.
Yeah, my uncles were a part of that movement. They were writing music for Patti LaBelle,
Okay.
the OJs, the Blue
Mhm.
Notes, and all them back in the 70s. And then and even my mom, she was, she sang inside the choir, at church. So it's just kind of something you inherit, the ability to,
Absolutely. Yeah.
do that type of stuff.
Yeah.
It's just that, like you said, the people that are on top of the business, they're pushing the genre to talk about certain topics that probably aren't the best.
Yeah, correct. This is very true, very true. And I do think that the influence of not having a strong family structure plays a role as well. Because, and I'm quite sure you could speak to this, that when you were growing up, there may be different things in the community that you see that you might gravitate to, but typically your parents will pull you and say, "No, you're not doing that," and you have to capitulate. I mean, they're your parents are crying out loud, right? So yeah, I think that may play a role as well. For example, I think of Maya. We all know the singer Maya, beautiful sister from DC. So she was known for being not only a good singer, but also a great dancer. And, she's extremely attractive. And she talked about in an interview that anytime she had a meeting with her record label, her father was right there and made sure that she would never be depicted in a negative light as overly sexual, raunchy, promiscuous, anything like that. In fact, there was even a time she mentioned that 50 Cent had made a diss song versus The Game. And in the song, he talked about how he had sex with Maya, which was completely false. And so the father, 50 Cent is in the room, Maya's there, and she took issue with, "You're saying that you had sex with me. We've never slept together." And the father was like, "You better apologize to my daughter right now." And 50 Cent apologized. So once again, having a strong family structure, and as Mr. Sandman stated, and I would agree, that strong male figure, that fatherly presence there plays a role as well.
Yeah, absolutely plays a massive role. And we all have friends that were in the streets and know how it was. So that's just how it built, just how it was. Like even like one of my producers, the guy I used to make music with, he was a street hustler. And he took his money and he used it to buy a whole bunch of equipment so that we can make music with it. And I understood his lifestyle. He was an alright guy. He just had to, I guess he did what he felt he needed to do, to get over,
Right.
and you see the conditions in which they grow up in inside the projects or whatever. You're like, yeah, it's kind of hard. You tried to make a way. And the thing is, a lot of these guys that are making music now, they don't, that's not even really what their life is like, they're just talking about somebody else's life,
Right.
And it just so happens that, the people that are really living those lifestyles, they might not have the talent or the ability to make music, but they are living the actual life itself, And when you have a unique individual who has that ability to make music and also can make music, then those are the type of artists that can talk about those topics and genuinely express them in in an ingenuous way instead of disingenuous. That I think that is more appealing to a larger group of people.
Absolutely. So we're gonna get ready to close out. So final thoughts. can hip hop experience a resurrection, and if so, how?
That's a good question. Can hip hop resurrect? Yeah, I mean, just like, all genres of music, hip hop is only 50 years old, and you have like rock artists from way back in the day, like Guns N' Roses, 60, 70 years old, still, touring and doing music. Stevie Wonder could probably still do a concert. He's like in the 70s.
True.
So, if a rap artist still wants to go out and create music, and he's from that era of real hip hop, like a Nas, a Jay-Z, all those guys, even though you might be pushing 50 or what have you, they can still go out and make music and do concerts as well. So, no, that the era might be gone, or that style of music might be gone. I don't think you can necessarily bring that style of music going, because that era is gone, and what they talked about back then is gone, and we're going into a different type of world. So I don't think we can ever go back to that. But the actual music itself, we can still hear it if we want to, if those artists wanted to go on tour and do their music.
Absolutely. So very quickly, family, if you want to tap in and be part of the conversation, the link is in the chat. The link is in the description. We're having a conversation regarding, is hip hop dead? And the question is, can his hip hop experience a resurrection? Most would argue that hip hop is dead, at least hip hop how we knew it in the golden era, and of course in the 90s and even the 2000s. So the question is, can hip hop experience a resurrection? The link is in the description. The link is also in the chat. You're watching a dual stream from MoveSpeaks.com, a Black empowerment initiative where we believe we could gain a competitive advantage by always betting on Black. And of course, Bequaline Network, the Pan-African social media extraordinaire, the home of African-centered news and information. Very good, very good. So let me ask you this, Mr. Sandman. What caused you to get into emceeing?
Oh, wow. What caused me to get into that? Oh, man. You know something? What caused me to get into it was, I used to listen to rap. I used to love it. And what I would do is, I was one of those kids that would, dub music on my beat machine, my beatbox or whatever. And then I would just put the rap song on, and I would play it over and over and over again until I memorized like all of the rap songs. And then I kind of had like everything in my head. I would like memorize all of Nas's music, all of Biggie Smalls' music, everybody's music. I just had it all in my head constantly. That's all I listened to constantly. So I was just drawn to it. And then I just ran into a friend who just so happens to love rap music as much as me, and they was all just in a cipher rapping, and I hopped in the cipher, right? And we just all started freestyling. And then he told me, "Oh, you nice with your rap skills. Let me take you to my boy." It was this one cat who had his own studio. He was actually West Indian too.
Okay.
A little bit older than us, and he had a studio inside his house. And we used to pay him to come to his crib when we was in high school. And we go there, pay him $2, and we just started making music. We just kept making music, putting it on wax, paying him a few dollars, putting it on wax, kept doing it, do talent shows. And I was just doing it for fun. I had no intentions on becoming famous doing it. I just loved music, and that's how I got into it. Until you start doing it for a long time, and then you realize that, oh, I can probably do this professionally, because you start listening to people that is doing it professionally. You be like, oh, I'm better than him. Oh, I'm better. Well, the era that I came up in was kind of like everybody was so good at music, it was almost deflating. to listen to them, because you be like, there's no way that I could be better than Nas or better than Big L or better than, Biggie Smalls, Jay-Z, and all these guys. They're so talented, but eventually, as you keep, practicing and making music, eventually you get to that level, and then you realize that, oh, maybe I can't do this professionally, So yeah, that's how I got started. Just ran into somebody who was into music, loved rap music as much as me, and we was all in the cipher, beatboxing and freestyling. Then we started going to my homie Tone, who was a producer, and we just started making music. That's how we got started.
Brother Jay,
Can I
what's
ask
the word?
Yeah, how are you guys? Basically, I'm listening in on the conversation, and I'm asking myself, how has hip hop even died? I thought hip hop was still going strong. Are you saying that there's a certain genre of hip hop that has died, or a certain type of political message in hip hop that has died? Are you saying that perhaps hip hop has become too commercialized? I mean, what would be the point here?
Well, I would argue, yes, most people make that argument.
So hip hop has become too commercialized, and it's just become too sassy and.
Well, I would say not commercialized, but it's controlled by non-African people.
Oh, so basically you got the white Jewish music executives directing how and where black art should be heading towards. Is that right?
It doesn't matter what their race or ethnicity is. They're non-African. And I make the argument that no one has our best interests at heart more than we do.
Right. So, I mean, so in what way do you think the rap music has died?
Well, we talk about hip hop, right? And there are 5 core elements of hip hop, right? We're talking about DJing, MCing, breaking, graffiti, and then of course knowledge of the culture, and of course clothing. What we tend to find is that unfortunately, when even if we just dive into MCing, in order to be MC, one of the things that you had to do is you had to show that you were lyrical, right? And you had to show that you could be an MC on a public stage in the community in order for you can actually be considered an MC. The community had to verify and authenticate that. The second issue was you had to make music that was socially conscious and relevant to the community. And we don't see that happening anymore.
So what do you see instead? You just see nonsense, or?
Yeah, I would say yes. Absolutely. Self-defeating, race disempowering, self-destructive behavior. We see the promotion of particularly criminal behavior, right?
Yeah, because even when you see criminal behavior, some argue that people are glorifying drug dealing, pimping, and all that nonsense. But in reality, what people say is we're just expressing our reality in the hood, so to speak.
Well, I would make the argument, so I would disagree with that, right? We know that the overwhelming majority of Black people in America, Africans in America, do not engage in criminal activity to make a living. That is a reality, right? So it's an extreme minority that engages in the selling of illicit street pharmaceuticals, right? Engage in that type of street level, under the table type black market type of entrepreneurialism, right? So that's not a reality.
Okay, so basically, like in the 1980s, people are saying that there was like a crack epidemic, and as a result of this, Los Angeles, cities like that became violent, and
yes, there was a crack epidemic. And
NWA came up in that period, and they were specifically speaking about, Dr. Dre, MC Ren, Ice Cube, and Eazy-E, and MC Ella. They were talking about, this is South Central Los Angeles, this is Compton, so this is what's happening in our situation. So do you think it was a good idea for them to express that, or were they exaggerating? Or
Well, I think it's twofold. One, once again, yes, there was a crack cocaine epidemic. I was born in 1983. I grew up in that era. But once again, the overwhelming majority of African Americans did not engage in the use or sale of drugs. That's just the reality. Once again, my position is that this type of behavior was glorified and romanticized in music and on television. Particularly, and we talked about this at the start of the show. Particularly, we didn't see the glorification and romanticization of criminal behaviors, criminal lifestyles until post-civil rights with Black exploitation movies.
And another thing is, you can tell that it's not real. Hello?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Yeah, you can tell that it's not real now because basically all of the artists sound the same. They're all a clone of each other. So basically that tells you corporate has already, mapped out exactly what they want out of an artist. So they all are clones of each other. When hip hop first started, everyone had their own little style and they talked about their own little topics. Now everybody talk about the same topic, rap about the same stuff, and when you listen to their music, you can't tell what artist is different from the other. That's how you know it's went like completely corporate or completely commercial. And that's what happens, whenever it becomes like more about making money than it is about the art itself. Because everyone has their own way of expressing themselves artistically. But if you're just interested in making the money, you say, well, even the way that I express myself artistically isn't going to make me money, so let me just sound like everybody else. And truth be told, you could take just about anybody off the street and say, hey, put these clothes on, tattoo yourself on the face here and there, and rap this song. I'll get a ghostwriter for you, and I can turn anybody into a rap star if they know how to act or play the role. You know what I'm saying? And they say that some people write Drake's music. They probably do. So he's another entity that was created by the corporate world to create a superstar, a artist, and that's how it's went, completely commercialized. It's not when we say it's not hip hop is dead. Hip hop was the true sense of the art itself, but now it is, for all intents and purposes, is fake art now.
That's a good point. Good point. Brother Jay, what say you? And very quickly,
Yeah.
Eric B says, back in the 80s, even though we had NWA, we still had Public Enemy, Poor Righteous Teachers, so at least we had balance. That's a great point. So there was diversity in the music, rather than what we see now is this carbon copy of everyone making the same music. And you even think about female rappers. If you think about the Cardi B, you think of Tiffany, you think of Meg Thee Stallion, you think of Chano, I need you to cam up. I need to see you in the camera before I could bring you into queue. I can't see your face. Can't see your face. I got to see your face. Okay, very good. You can turn your camera off. I'm going to bring you in. All right, so I'm happy we got a sister here now. We need to have, the divine feminine and the masculine. So happy to have that. So we think of Meg Thee Stallion. We think of Sexy Red. And we're seeing some of the most ridiculous. What's the sister out of Memphis? What is her name? She's a rapper. She's from Memphis. What is her name? Could somebody tell me the song's name? You're breaking up on us, Mano.
Can I ask you a question? Sorry.
Real quick, I want to make sure I get this sister out of Memphis, female rapper out of Memphis.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly either because there's been so many that are coming out right now. So I'm also trying to think. So I'm not sure who.
Yeah, I'm trying to, but she just came out. She's rather Gorilla. And so when we talk about promoting this type of ratchet debauchery, she was on Angela Yee's platform, her podcast, and she stated, yes, Gorilla, thank you, Eric B. She stated that she likes for a man to ejaculate on his food, on her food, and then she eats the food. Just the most crudest type of behavior they're promoting. Just absolutely ridiculous. You see what we're talking about here? That's why when Brother Sandman says this is something that's manufactured, it's not real, it's not realistic, it's not rooted in everyday experiences of African people in the death, decadence, and dysphoria of the Western Hemisphere. It's pretty obvious if you have a knack for a brain that this is something that is inorganic rather than organic. Right. Sister Chano, I'm gonna let you go ahead and then we'll pass it to Brother Jay.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, I'm Channel. For me, I've listened to like a lot of different types of music, but when it comes to like what's out right now, I do have a more harder time, like I would say, relating to those songs. Like if I'm just sitting here by myself, I listen to other music, and those are like songs too that are hard to listen. But when I see like if I go out somewhere and of course they play that music, so you can see how. I don't know. It's like you said, if you can see things, you can see it. Like even how people are dressing in today's time, it's like allowing more things to just be free. When before, like you would be like more like private about certain things, and I don't know. It's just, and then the way they do have it mainstream, it's like other people it's like they're embracing it, but I don't know. It just makes everything seem like it's okay when it's not normal at all. And I have a hard time with that myself whenever it comes to listening to like new stuff.
I mean, I saw Megan Thee Stallion, performing in front of the Democrat convention of Kamala Harris, and I was somewhat, disturbed by that. I mean, did you guys see it?
Say that one more time.
Yeah, it was Megan Thee Stallion performing Body Oddy in front of Kamala Harris.
Yes, actually, unfortunately, I did see that.
And now, what do you think of it?
I did a show on it. I think it's another example of the political stunts that we find Black people engaging in every presidential election season.
Yeah,
if it's strolling to the polls, if it's no voting, no bucking. Once again, these are political stunts, but there's no political apparatus or strategy regarding getting what we need for our community. We know the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., you can't mention Dr. King without mentioning Coretta Scott King, taught us that politics is the business. Let me turn my camera on, my cam up. He taught us that politics is the business of who gets what, when, where, and how. And unfortunately, what we're finding is with our brothers and sisters, is that there isn't a focus on actually receiving any type of benefits or from the state, rather than just engaging in what I like to call a participation certificate and getting a participation certificate.
And I would add that, of course, the Democratic Party is trying to pander to a young voting audience, and we've all been, young college students.
In the Republican Party as well, we're seeing that on both ends because they brought out Amber Rose.
Right, yeah.
I mean, Donald Trump, for example, said that now that I'm a convicted felon, I should be able to relate better to the African American community.
Right, and I believe he even went on to some famous young streamer show as well to do some political campaigning as well. So, yeah, that's all that is they're just trying to get the younger voting demographic. That's all it is, and they figure that they can, because we've all been young before, full of hormones. We're not really using our brains and paying attention to politics.
I myself, I am still like young, and I've like.
So if you don't mind me asking, sister, how old are you?
I'm 25.
Okay.
So for me, like I would say the past like 2 years I've really like been learning more of like Black history and certain things because I grew up here. And like what we learn in school, of course, is not like the full thing. So as I've been learning more, it's making me like see other things. And like my biggest question is like, how come it's like it all just seems like so easy to see, but everyone is very like easy to follow. Like they just follow everything that happens. And it's like you're saying, the music, why would these people be at a political place? Like in the past, that would never happen. But now that's just the norm. And we're just like, okay, we'll laugh about it and then keep it moving. But it's like it's like you're not taking your life serious almost. Like you're just following this. I don't know. It just confuses me at times.
Well, sister, I would say one, I would argue that you do know. I would say that you do know. That's why you're part of this conversation, because you are in the know. So I think there's a couple of issues that we can look at. One, I think we have to look at menticide. What is menticide? Menticide is the inability, is the systematic inability for people to be unable to engage not only in critical thinking, but to think independently. You know, most people would make the argument that, well, a person is smart, but people are dumb, right? That menticide, I would argue, is due to what Dr. Carter G. Woodson, a term Dr. Carter G. Woodson coined 91 years ago called miseducation, right? Most African Americans or Black people, period, in the world are miseducated. We're taught everyone else's history, heritage, and culture. We're taught to pedestalize their history, heritage, and culture, and we're taught to demonize our own. And that leads to, of course, self-hatred. And so when you hate yourself, you find yourself susceptible, particularly psychologically, to these negative caricatures, and you then accept those negative caricatures as fact.
Also, I would add, if you're even listening to a program like this, that you're probably not the typical young person that's out all night, you know, drinking and smoking, burning your brain cells, and you can actually think. So, you know, most of those people, they're just so fried, they don't even have the attention span or the critical thinking skills to even comprehend what's happening to them, or how they get manipulated by, you know, political propaganda.
But it's the other problem about hip hop that some artists are, you know, pandering and catering to the young. So basically, the young like that which is fun, edgy, you know, that which is dangerous and exciting. And so, you know, people consider that as a criterion to be something which is fun, something which is exciting to do, and something that makes my life, say, more interesting. So as a result, they love the gangster rap, they love the all the negative things. So do you think that?
And young people are they're gullible. Young people are very impressionable.
Right. So, because how would you then wean off the young and convince them to look drinking and rampant promiscuity and taking weed and all of that is just bad and it's not fun. How what kind of alternative fun would you give to the kids? Because I think that would perhaps be a path whereby you could change how rap music evolves, or how would you change their narrative, the young kids?
Right, so I think there's a couple things. I think one, you know, the African proverb states that the ruin of a nation begins in the homes of its people, right? And so one, you need to have a strong family structure. Growing up, I never engaged in those type of things. One, because my father and my older brother would have whooped my ass, right? But second, I was big into sports. So I mean, I would get out of school, and I would play basketball from the moment I got out of school to 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night, like literally all day long. So that's one issue. The second is, you know, the parents need to be engaged. You know, typically parents are engaged. Let me turn my camera on. Parents typically are engaged in those tender years, preschool, kindergarten, first grade, second grade, etc. But most parents aren't strongly engaged, all the way through. When that child is in middle school, when that child is in high school, where they really need you, because now the vices of the world are calling them. So those are some issues. Sports is a big issue. I think Sister Chano, I think you played sports or something like that.
Yes, I ran track.
Right, absolutely, right. So that would play a role. The fact that she's running track, we know studies have shown, particularly for African American women or Black women, and playing sports boosts their self-esteem, right? They're now they're now their time is being absorbed in something that's positive and constructive rather than something that is negative and deconstructive. So those play a role as well. Also promoting critical thinking. We know, unfortunately, illiteracy is a major issue in our communities, and so promoting literacy allows our children to develop the type of skills they need to be a critical thinker, and people who are critical thinkers are not easily manipulated. So that's a big issue as well. And I think one of the issues we have regarding why illiteracy is such a major issue is because teaching a child to read and develop a love of learning is something that is time intensive, not labor intensive. I remember when my children were young, I mean, when you first start teaching a child how to read, it may take them 10 minutes to read one page. But most people feel like there's something more important to do. I remember my son, when he was in 3rd grade, told me how some of his female classmates were watching Love and Hip Hop and Housewives of Atlanta with their mothers, right? So we also need to be cognizant and conscious of the type of entertainment that we allow our children to actually, what's the term I want to use? That we allow our children to actually view and watch. So these are things that we need to, once again, I would argue, be aware of and consider.
Yeah, because I mean, as a youngster, I mean, I would look at all these hip hop, and I would look at, say, rampant promiscuity, drug dealing, and alcohol, and it was just overly glorified for me. But obviously, I managed to steer clear of this. But as a youngster, I mean, I used to like bike riding. I used to like ice skating. I used to like swimming. So basically, I mean, I think you've made a very powerful point that, generally speaking, you need to preoccupy the young with sport. I mean, I think that's probably the only thing you can do. You could also, preoccupy their minds with, playing, watching movies and not only watching movies, playing games. Would that be inaccurate of me to say, or? Hi, Lamumba, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Or I would say that, a lot of these young youth, potentially, especially a lot of the young black youth, if they're growing up in a bad situation where, they're living in violent communities, or in the ghetto, pretty much, the only time that they get to get away from all of the pain and struggle that they view themselves being in life is to get high and get drunk and forget about that they live in the slums, or forget that, their parents abandoned them, or forget that, their brother got killed. The only time they can forget about all of the pain is when they, medicate themselves with drugs and alcohol. So what it really is people running away from their problems instead
Absolutely.
of taking them on head on. And then when they get a habit, they get addicted to the drug, and then that's the only way they know how to cope with the struggles that come in life.
Absolutely. I think we touched base on this before on my show, Brother Sandman. But this is a major issue. Good God 187 says it's just where they took it. Tap in, Good God 187. Want to know what you mean by that. So tap in. The link is in the chat. The link's in the description. Let us know what you think. Sister Channel, what say you?
Sorry, it was breaking up a little bit.
Quite all right. Yeah, just want to get your thoughts on how to prevent some of these issues from taking place, particularly with young people.
I would say, of course, it would have to start with, at least I would say, the parents, in a way, only because it's like, if a child sees that, like, say I brush something, like I dropped something, but each time I just leave it there. So once the kid drops it, they'll leave it there, but they'll keep on going. But if they see you pick it up, then each time they'll make sure they pick it up as well. So I guess even because people my age now are parents, so it can still start with kids, people my age. But it's just that whole thing of what you do yourself plays a big role. So even myself now, I'm asking, like, how can I do certain things? Because I'll have conversations with friends and stuff, and like sometimes I'll like throw out like little things, and I'll kind of see where the conversation goes. And if they're like not following, I'll just stop talking. So, but I feel like when I say those things, it's planting a seed somewhere. So
right.
At times I just try to express myself as much as I can, anytime I can, but still know the appropriate things and when and all that.
Right. And that's a great point, because children are actors. They act out what they see in the home. And I remember there was a time when my son was 6 years old, and we was at some event, at some restaurant, and I was flippantly lying about my age. About a week later, my son was lying about his age, and I said, he's doing this because he saw me doing it. So I had to check myself, and I told my son, hey, we shouldn't do this. Because my son has always been tall for his age. So he was telling people he was 9 rather than he was 6. And people believed him. Right. So you're 100% correct. And I just think one of the major issues is, unfortunately, a lot of people now, and this isn't just an issue in our community, but particularly in America, a lot of parents just really don't put the time in. And people say, oh, it's because they're working so much. No, I would argue there was a time where if people had children, their lives became child-centered. Nowadays, people have children. They say, hey, I'm still going to live my life. I'm still going to go out and party and do all the things I want to do. And so as a result, the child suffers because they're not engaging with the child the way children typically are engaged with. And as we know, when children are left to their own devices, they typically get in trouble.
Yeah, and I have a teenage son, and I just tell him the real. I tell him what to look out for. I'm telling him, hey, when you get out into the real world, you want to see this. Watch out for this. I've been through that.
Mm-hmm.
I took this L. Don't make the same mistake I made.
Right.
Don't get into the drugs. It's gonna make you stupid. It's gonna make you slow. You a smart person. Use your brain. Make money. You know what I'm saying? You run around with some of these fast. If you run around with some of these fast girls, you're either gonna get them pregnant or you're gonna catch a disease. You know what I'm saying? You gotta know, like, read people, know who you're dealing with. Don't mess around with people that's gonna bring you down. That's not on your level.
Right.
All this stuff that that you wish you were told when you were young, when you were making them same mistakes that you made back in the day. You want to teach the youth, like, hey, watch out for this, because, hey, getting old, that's an accomplishment, because a lot of us, especially young black men, don't make it to old age.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, the issue of like hip hop, if you have like positive types of hip hop like Public Enemy, Arrested Development, those kind of groups, the youth can actually listen to them quite a lot as a form of entertainment. If you can have like African American sitcoms, movies that are, very educational but yet entertaining at the same time, that could be a form of entertainment as well for the youth. So basically, as a community, you just have to set up, I think, many other facilities to ensure that the youth are heading in the right direction. And we just got to ensure that, generally speaking, that the hip hop genre is fundamentally changed. And that leads me on to another question. How would we get back to the original hip hop style and the original hip hop genre, which was very positive for the African American community and for Africans globally?
One thing I will say, I won't say all of it, but I started listening to like a lot of like different like Afro beats and like other music from the continent, and I did find like a lot of course now like the new mainstream stuff will have like what we hear here, but a lot of it, like the artist will still like, I don't know, it's just incorporating very, like you said, positive things, or maybe it's still talking about like getting money, but the way it's saying it's not like you're doing something that's negative. You're doing it in a positive way. You're lifting yourself up. So I've like have more of like Afro beats and stuff in my phone right now, because when I listen to it, it's like it makes my day brighter. But if I go and try to listen to like some other stuff that's still like about, oh, let's be motivated, I feel like more like, I don't know, it's just a different feeling. So, and I see like, I don't know, there's like certain people that they're collabing, so I feel like eventually things will kind of rub off, but it's still based on the person, which, yeah.
Yeah, and it just gotta be real. Us as African people, we know what the soul is. We can feel it in our bones, and when we listen to something, we genuinely know if it's coming from something pure. And when you listen to the Afro beats, a lot of these artists, you could tell that this is something real that's coming from the spirit, the soul. And when it hits the over the beat, you just know this is real, and you can feel it. You know what I'm saying? So that's the only way you can bring it back, is just to be real.
All right. Thank you very much for having me on the panel. I've just got to be going right about now. It's coming up to 3 a.m. in the UK. So thank you very much for.
No problem, brother. Handle your business.
Okay, then. Thank you. Good
All
night,
right.
all of you.
Peace. Yes.
Peace.
So, so you know, these are some of the issues that, of course, we will always want to engage and interrogate. In fact, family, if you're watching, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Make sure that you are linked in to the conversation. Brother Mufasa, what's the word? I think you may have to turn the YouTube off in the background.
You said turn the music off, you said?
YouTube. We was getting some feedback.
Oh, no, yeah, I'm trying to fix my microphone. I'm on my phone, actually.
Okay, no problem. How are you? First off, how are you doing in the 619?
Oh, it's all good, man.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all good. Just trying to figure out how to get this money. Same old story.
Okay. Hey, just make sure you
Yeah.
run me my 20%, right?
I hear that. What I was about to say. So did you guys? I'm just getting here, but did you guys define hip hop versus rap, or is it up to us to do that?
Well, you know, we actually didn't have that conversation, so I'm glad you mentioned that. So, you know, I always use the example of Chaos One. I would even do this with my students. Victoria Young, I appreciate you tapping in. If you could turn your camera on and cue, just to make sure you're not trolling, then I will bring you into the live. Just need you to turn your camera on and cue, then I will bring you into the live. So the best example for me, and of course I want to hear your opinion of this, Brother Mufasa, is what Chaos One stated. He says rappers spit rhymes that are mostly illegal. MCs spit rhymes to uplift their people. So that's the definition that I use of the difference between hip hop and rap. And I would love to hear from the panel. What are your thoughts on that definition?
I mean, hip hop and rap. I don't know. I feel like I don't know about that. So basically, the rap is the bad side, and then the hip hop's the good side, pretty much. It's a dichotomy you're setting up.
Yes.
For me, I wouldn't make a difference. I wouldn't make a distinction between the two. Right? That's why I was kind of asking, because I'm having trouble.
Okay.
Because rap, I mean, we know rap is just a slang term for basically talking, or, you know, that's really what it meant. If I say, hey, I'm a rap to her,
Right.
you mean I'm gonna talk to her or whatever. I'm like gonna spit at her, right? Or rap, let me rap with you. And then hip hop was something that they gave that name, and it's commonly tied with the 5 elements, which I don't like the 5 elements personally.
Okay, so let's just unpack that. Why did you not like the 5 elements of hip hop?
Well, I feel like I grew up in hip hop. I was born in 1987.
Okay,
I feel
80s
like
baby, let's get it. Hold it down.
right.
You know, you better believe it.
Yep. So I feel like I grew up hip hop, right? But I could care less about what do you call it? I could care less about graffiti. I never cared about graffiti, and I never really cared that much about breakdancing. It's cool to look at, but I never wanted to do it. So it's like, am I not hip hop? You see what I'm saying?
Right, but here's the thing. It's not saying that if you do not engage in an aspect that you're not part of hip hop. I mean, but once again, it's a subculture. Right. So, and there are several aspects, you know, clothing, graffiti, DJing, MCing, breaking. It's all part of the culture, right? So you don't have to. I mean, I can't rap. I've never been able to rap. It just wasn't my thing. I argue that I was prohibited from developing my lyrical skills and ability because in the 80s, my brother and sister would be having ciphers with their friends in the community in the neighborhood, and they actually told me I was too young to rap, so they made me bebop. And so as a result, I say that's what kept me from being able to be a lyricist, and that's why I can't rap to this day, right? That's the argument I make. Really, I just don't have any bars. That's just the reality.
No, but the thing is, you didn't rap, but you enjoyed the rapping. You see what I'm saying? You enjoyed the rap. What I'm saying is, breakdancing had no part in my life. You know what I'm saying? Like I wasn't doing it. Nobody was doing it. Like when we was at the cipher in high school, I was rapping or I was making the beats. Nobody was like breakdancing. Breakdancing didn't matter.
If I could, breaking was something that was heavy in the 80s and early 90s. Not when we got to high school, people weren't breakdancing anymore.
Right. That's
That's
what I'm
just the
saying. So
reality.
why is that so? That's why I want to divorce from that description of hip hop
Well, no,
because
because part of hip hop is the battle, right? And so you could battle either lyrically, right, or you could battle what in terms of from a dancing or from a breaking standpoint. That the B girls and the B girl and the B boys. For example, my daughter when she was very young, she fashioned herself as a B girl, right?
yeah, my daughter
And
too.
this is so cute. My son and daughter would actually battle. They would battle. They would break against each other. They would actually battle. Right. So just because it's not something that we engaged in doesn't mean that it's not part of the actual culture.
Right. I hear what you're saying. To me, look, graffiti and breakdancing are just irrelevant. They were always irrelevant to me, and I still consider myself hip hop. So that's really my issue with that. And then not just me, like none of my friends. You know what I mean?
Right.
If
And
call any of them
I
right
didn't
now,
do graffiti because I was afraid of my parents killing me, deleting me. You know what I mean? So
right.
I mean, so that didn't work for me because they would get me out of here. So
Yeah, because I'm from Cali, so the graffiti, the only graffiti we really cared about, it had ties to gang culture. It wasn't like
that's very
we were
true.
looking at the art. It was just like, okay,
Yes.
they're hitting them up. That's such and such
Mhm.
gang. They're crossing them out. That mean they took somebody out. You know
Right.
that's the only thing we really knew. So yeah, that's why I would say that.
Absolutely. So very quickly, we're gonna go to Sister Channel. Real quick, Victoria Young, I see you still in queue. We need you to connect your device that we could bring you into the live because we need more feminine energy, of course, in the conversation. Sister Channel, what say you regarding the five elements of hip hop culture?
I will say, let's see. I want to make a comment on the graffiti because I feel like graffiti can also be put in different like categories, like how dancing, like how you say break dancing, but there's also other dances that we do like as a community. So I feel like that could be like when it comes to like graffiti art and all that, it's like as all we have like different talents that we have, and it's all like within the community. Like you see different things, so I wouldn't just look at it as just graffiti and just break dancing. Like look at the other things that we still do that incorporate those same things, if you get me. And then the other thing, let's see. Whenever I would think of like rapping, I would always think of like kind of like the storytelling, like music that's like the old, like I'm not gonna say old, but like it has like storytelling, like it's not just saying anything. There's a story, like a line you can actually follow. But when I would think of hip hop, I'd always think of like the something you hear on the radio, the dancing music and stuff like that. So I don't know. I'd always look at rap more as like I would say like the realness, I guess, and then hip hop was just like I don't know. That's just my thing, but yeah.
Mr. Sandman, what say you? Mr. Sandman, what say you? Brother Zongo Native, appreciate you, brother. Make sure you hit that like button. Mr. Sandman, are you there with us? So let me ask this question. And Sister Channel, you can ask this question, and we're going to take it to Brother Mufasa. Is hip-hop dead?
I would say yes, only because it's now just used to make money. It's not about the actual like message to bringing people together. To like how you're saying, some people might grow up in a bad place, but if they listen to music, that can be an outlet. But now the outlet is also still incorporating the badness, so it's just a chaos, like a ball of chaos, basically. So yeah, I think it's dead, but not all because there's still hip hop, but it's just not mainstream. So it's just based on what you choose to listen to.
Okay. Brother Mufasa. Is hip hop dead? Brother Mufasa.
All right, can you hear me now?
I can hear you just fine.
Okay, yeah, I don't know, something's up with my headphones. So no, I meant to throw in a second ago, but something wrong with my mic. Was that another issue I have with the list is the list was created by Africa Bambaataa, to my understanding. And my thing is like, who made him the king of hip hop to like create the list, or even if it was done amongst them over there.
Well, I'm not familiar with that. Where I got the information from, for me, was from Dr. Neil Irving Painter and her book Creating Black Americans. But
Well, I mean, but where did she say? Who did she say coined the 5 elements?
She didn't.
Yeah, it was my understanding that it was Africa Bambaataa.
Yeah, that one I don't know for sure. That's why I didn't touch on that. So I don't know that part, but I just touched on what I kind of had an opinion on.
Mhm. But
Yeah, I mean, look it up real quick if you could.
Brother Mufasa, do you believe hip hop is dead?
Do I believe hip? No. Hip hop's not dead. No.
Okay.
No.
So you say it's not dead. You're the first person to say that it's not dead. Why do you say that it isn't dead?
There's just a lot of good hip hop still. You know, I feel like there's just a lot of good hip hop. I think maybe if people, you know, I don't listen to the radio like that. I hear some of the songs, but most of the music I listen to is still pretty good. You know what I'm saying? Like I listen to Benny the Butcher. You can't tell me he's not hip hop. You can't tell me J. Cole's not. You can't tell me Kendrick's not. There's plenty of people that's still hip hop. I mean, you can't tell me. I could keep going. And Benny the Butcher and Kendrick and J. Cole, they all got major deals. So I don't see how it's hip hop dead if they're still doing what they're doing.
Got you.
And not just they're also major artists. So like people will be like, oh, you got people like Sexy Red. Sexy Red is a plant. Sexy Red gets more media attention than her numbers even warrant. You know what I'm saying? So you look at her numbers, it don't even match up with these other people I'm naming. But they'll use people like her as this caricature to create this like negative propaganda, you know?
Okay. Yeah, she's from St. Louis.
I seen.
Got you. Yeah, I'm looking at some stuff now. So
I would ask y'all to respond to that. Like, well, how do you know? I mean, y'all just said it was dead. I mean, how do you figure it's dead with the point I just made?
Well, so many people would argue in terms of. Well, let me shut up and let some of the panel speak.
My reasoning for basically thinking it's dead is because the message that it's giving isn't actually like bringing life to the people. The things that they're telling you to do isn't going to help you in life, really. Like in the moment, yeah, you'll feel good, but later down, you'll be looking back like I just wasted my time.
It was hard for me to hear what you said.
Could you repeat that, Sister Channel?
Yeah, that's fine. I basically just said the message that they give is what makes it dead because they're not saying something that brings life to you. The actions that it'll make you do will just like later down the road you'll be looking back like you wasted time trying to go party and do whatever. So the message that they're giving you isn't anything that's good and will bring life.
You have examples? Like outside, like that exceed the ones I gave?
I mean, like the Sexy Red and stuff. Like I can't think of like too many of the stuff off the top of my head. But like the Lotto, Sexy Red, even Megan Thee Stallion. There's just certain like images that they portray, the way you dress, the way you're just free about certain things. Like, especially like as a woman, there's certain things like you shouldn't do or carry yourself in a way, but they just make it like that's fine because we're allowing it now and everybody's okay with it. But at the end of the day, it's like removing pieces of you, kind of.
Right.
But you don't realize that in that time.
So let me ask you this, Sister Channel. You are a woman. What ways are they carrying themselves that you find as a Black woman unbecoming?
I mean, because even like I said myself, I've had to learn things, and it's just like certain ways you dress. Even like certain like pictures you post maybe or like the way you pose, like if certain, I don't know, just certain things that before like you really wouldn't do, like I don't know, because it's like certain people like certain outfits I'll see it's like stripper clothing, but now it's just like regular clothes that we wear every day.
Right.
And that's like that wasn't normal like 2 years ago, but now we're
So
just doing it.
So you're talking about stripper culture going mainstream.
Yeah, that's the main thing that I see that the music brings.
Okay. Yeah, I actually talked to my daughter about that, and we talked about that. This is stripper culture. She said, how do you know it's stripper culture? I said, don't ask questions, right?
See, hello?
Go right ahead, Mr. Sandman.
Yeah, thanks. Sexy Red is actually I think that she's a little bit interested in artistically, and the reason why I say that is because the character that she's portraying is so obviously ridiculous that I don't think that she's even serious, and I think she's trying to portray a certain type of righteous behavior that is so ridiculous that, if you were, the type of person to engage in that type of behavior, you would look at yourself like, I'm being as dumb as Sexy Red. I almost think it's like she's playing like a clown. There's no way she could be that dumb and make this
Right.
much money. Yeah, I think it's a gimmick.
Yeah, I would
And I
agree.
think she's
Her
like
album only sold 28,000 units.
No, that's where I was about to go. Well, number one, she can be that dumb because she's not doing it alone. She has handlers. And then number two, um, why is she the representation of hip hop? Like, why do we go to the negative? Get what I'm saying? Like, I would ask Chano, and then you as well. The people I mentioned, are they hip hop? Is Kendrick hip hop? Is J. Cole hip hop? Is Benny the Butcher hip hop? Who else was I naming? Lil Russell. I know he's a little underground, but like, are these people hip hop?
They're not, but that's when I go into saying, like, based on who you choose to listen to, you'll have that opinion. Because when it comes to Kendrick, J. Cole, they have songs that are saying some crazy stuff, but it's not on the top of the charts. But until they have, like, they just had their little beef going on, so now everything's like all the eyes are on them. So unless they're like doing, like, even J. Cole, he made I think it was like a few years ago, he started changing his flow a little bit, and it was kind of
Hey,
like
somebody's giving us some feedback.
mm.
Okay, go ahead, Channel.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Did you hear the first part of what I was saying?
If you could repeat it, I'd be greatly appreciated.
Okay, no problem, no worries. Basically, I was saying, like, how he was saying there's Kendrick, J. Cole, the other people that he mentioned, they're like J. Cole, like Kendrick, he just had the beef going on, so there's like all eyes on him. Like, unless they're doing something that like makes people actually look at them, certain songs don't make the charts. Like, they have plenty of music, so I've listened to myself plenty of music, but you don't hear that on the radio ever. But if it's like, because I have so many artists on my phone that I've never even heard like anywhere else, but they make music, they're artists, but they're out here and they're saying stuff that's good, but you don't hear it. But like I said, it's all based on you, like what you listen to. And when I say hip hop is dead, I'm not saying like again, it's not the whole thing. It's just the mainstream, the what they have the face of hip hop. That's what's making it dead. But everyone that's making the music, the beats, everything is still there. But the message in certain songs is not there anymore.
No, but the artists I'm naming are 100 times larger than the artists you guys are naming for the negative. See what I'm saying? So these are big artists, and I mean, I didn't get it. So you're saying that they're not hip hop?
No, I'm
Because
not
they
saying
didn't
they're
start from
not.
zero?
I'm just saying, yeah, I'm not saying they're not. I'm just saying, like, if someone says, give me a hip hop artist, they're gonna say Lil Baby, they're gonna say something else. They're not gonna say, maybe they will say Kendrick based on who they
Yeah,
are.
definitely.
But
Say
that's what I
Kendrick.
mean.
He
Like,
got
I'm
like
not
20
saying
rappers.
like I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying when people like look at the bases, what comes to their mind first, it might not be those people. It might be what they see, like what they're putting in their face.
So like from the inside of the game, like when I used to be into rap music, I used to be an artist, right? And I was working with my producer. We was trying to start like a little music label. And at the time, this was like the early 2000s that we were making all of our music. This was the era of 50 cents where, you made your music, put it on a CD, you sold it, out the back of your car or whatever. And then hopefully you got signed by a major label. Well, at this time, right in the early 2000s, one of the friends that we were working with happened to be like one of those guys who had a degree in computer science. And he was telling us like, yo, everything's going to change. Everything's going to the internet. We got to get a website this. We got to get a website that. And I was one of those guys that was like, I don't understand. Like, what do you mean this website? Like, how are we going to monetize and sell our music on the internet when everything's free on the internet? He was like, I'm telling you, man, everything's going to the internet. Everything's going to the internet. And this is what happened. Okay, so I think the first guy is that one rapper. I think he had that one song, You, whatever. I forgot his name.
You're talking about Soulja Boy.
Yeah, Soulja Boy. Yeah, he started putting his music on YouTube, and then this is the new way that rap artists get on. What they do is now if you don't want to get these major labels, they're not signing to you until that you prove that you have like a backing. Before, you had to prove that you had a backing by like how many people will come see you at like a talent show in New York or whatever, or another like A&R had to vouch for your skills, or you had to go like on a tour with like a major artist and like sway the crowd with your lyrics that way. But now they saying, all these major labels are saying, okay, you independent, you have so many media avenues that you can express yourself. Let me see you get a following. And this is what they're doing. They're making their music independently. They're putting it on, all of these social media sites like YouTube, Instagram, so on and so forth. They're gaining their following. Then once they gain a following, then the investors are willing to invest in them because they see that they have like a market base that they think that they can get some return on their investment. So what you're seeing is a lot of these new rap artists, to get the quickest way to get a following is just to basically be a gimmick, do something so outrageous like a Charleston White, just so you can have a whole bunch of people watching your stuff. And once you get a following, then you get a deal. So that's basically that's all they're doing. They're just pushing the needle, putting on more of a clown suit, showing off more of their butt, more of their private parts, doing more drugs and more dumb stuff, or even talking about killing people and real crimes, putting it on the internet, gaining a following, and then signing deals.
Understood.
What year did it die? Or
I would say the year that I don't know, I guess it would be the year that Soldier Boy came in. And then,
2005.
Soldier Boy, that Superman, right.
So that was a good song, bro. Like, I don't. What's the difference between that and MC Hammer or Whoop There It Is?
Can't touch this.
Yeah, there's no difference. Like, that's the same thing. It's a fun song. You could dance to it. They ain't really saying. What was the message in Whoop There It Is?
No, well, actually, MC Hammer actually had talent. Like Soldier Boy, I don't know. I don't think
album, real quick. That dude got like multiple hits.
Real quick, with Soldier Boy, his albums were garbage. His albums were trash. Yeah, so
I mean, he had some. I'll agree that he didn't have like strong albums, but he had a bunch of songs. At the end of the day, you can't say he's. I don't see how he doesn't have talent, and he has multiple.
I mean, MC Hammer could rap. He could dance. He could put on a show.
Okay,
what can Soldier Boy do other than say you and wear baggy clothes and act stupid?
I don't know about the act stupid, but the how you wear your clothes, that's hip hop. He created a dance, that's hip hop. There was many different dances all through hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Bankhead bounce,
Harlem Shake,
etc.
The Harlem Shake.
Yeah, Harlem Shake.
Yeah.
He created a dance that's 100% hip hop. He created having fun, right? The 5 elements y'all like. I don't see what part of that song was 100% hip hop. And Soldier Boy, it wasn't a one-hit wonder. He had other songs too. He might not have been like your speed. I think you're too old for that. But when that song dropped, I was like 18 or something like that, 17.
Right.
And people was definitely into it. And it was like because that was like when YouTube first came out, and I was like looking up some of his songs. I was on the wave for a minute. I ain't gonna lie. I was on his way for a minute. I never thought he was like, I wasn't comparing him to like Lil Wayne or nothing like that. Like no spitter. But in terms of a fun rapper, he was that. And like I said, it's a bunch of songs. People act like everybody was spitting all like super spitting like that in early hip hop. They weren't. They had plenty of having fun songs where it wasn't like, and then they act like people ain't spitting today when most of these artists will spit circles around the old artists. And there's no slight to the old artists.
No, that's not true.
Yeah, come on, bro.
Nah.
I mean,
So
look
you
at
telling me
records.
These artists today are more lyrical than Big Pun? They're more lyrical than Jay-Z. They're more lyrical than Nas. They're more lyrical than anybody in the Wu-Tang. I mean, they're more lyrical to Black Thought, more lyrical to Big Daddy Kane, Rakim. Come on,
I think
it's not even
those okay.
close.
You're choosing. First of all, a lot of those people you're mentioning were like a little like '90s, a little later on. You see what I'm saying?
Oh,
Hip
you
hop
talking about you talking
'70s.
about the early '80s. That's even before our time. But like, yeah, that was just the infancy of hip hop. But we
That's
talking
my
about
point.
like the golden age of hip hop.
No, that's my point. That's the point I was trying to make. Like I'm like, okay, you brought up Rakim. He's like one of the exceptions. Big Daddy Kane. I'm not a big fan of him, but he definitely could spit. Um, so I'll give you that. But I'm just saying some of these songs. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like I was just listening to what's that dude with Premier Gangstar? And it's like, bro, it's not like they spitting no crazy bars like that. You know what I'm saying? But they're good songs.
Okay. Sister Chanel, what say you? Chanel. Is it Chanel or Chanel?
Channel. It's just channel.
Channel.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And if you don't mind me asking, and where are you from?
I was born here in the United States.
Okay. But your folks are from?
Like I had to do like my ancestry basically, but Nigeria.
Okay. Cool. And you ran track. What did you run?
I did the 1 through 400, and then
Okay,
like
I ran the
4 relays.
400. I would have cooked you though.
Uh,
In that 4, I
Maybe
would have cooked you.
the 200. That's my race. The 200. So I'll give you the
Okay.
400.
Yeah, you can have that too. You can have that. You got it. Very good. Very good. Okay. So would you argue that artists today are more lyrical now than they were at the previous generation, or vice versa?
No, overall no. Overall no, but I would say some of the main artists. Like you can't tell me the baby ain't spitting just because he's new. He's definitely spitting. I don't listen to Lil Baby like that, but I'm trying to point out some of these newer artists that I don't really listen to. But like they're out today, and that people they won't like them, so they'll act like they're not spitting because they don't like their style. So, but overall, no. Like the golden age, it was more of a standard that you had to have bars. It was more of a standard. So, so it's definitely like overall, nah, they're not. But what I'm saying is there's people who like do the kind of old man get off my lawn thing, and because they don't like the style, they be like, oh, they whack
Right.
whatever. But you're not even listening to them. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
So I got another question for you all. When did you fall in love with hip hop?
Man, I was born into hip hop. I don't know how to answer that. Probably as a little kid.
Okay.
Yeah, the song that I heard that made me fall in love with hip hop. I mean, there was a lot of songs that I heard that I thought was real dope when I was young, like Self Destruction and
Right.
Everyone Self Destruction. I like that joint. I like some a couple of Philly artists like Summertime by DJ Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince. You know, a whole bunch of joints that came out back then. But I think the one song that made me fall in love with hip hop was when Tribe Called Quest dropped that joint. Check the Rhyme, y'all. And I was like, yeah, that's it for me. I really
The beat on that
like
song
this
is
shit.
nice.
Yeah, Check the Rhyme, and then after that, just all of these great albums came out from Nas, Illmatic to Biggie Smalls, Ready to Die to Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, and everybody just started dropping great albums in the early to mid '90s. And then I was like, damn, this shit is amazing.
Right. Okay. What about you, Sister Channel?
For me, I would have to say, because growing up, my mom, she listened to like a lot of Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Okay.
So I would say
Are
definitely
you in the Cleveland area?
no.
Okay.
But yeah, we listened to a lot of them. I know one of them, I forget the name, but it was like they're basically they're telling like a story, but they're like it sounds like a country song, but just like the way they can like transform into like different characters basically, but it's still like hip hop. That's one thing that I like about them.
Okay.
You said there was a group that was telling stories. Who was that? Can y'all hear me?
What group was that, sister?
Slick Rick.
So Harmony. Can you hear me?
Yeah, she
Hello?
said Bone Thugs.
Bone
Okay, I
Thugs,
thought
she
she
said
was
Bone
talking about
Thugs.
something else. Okay.
Yeah. There's a song, Ghetto Cowboy, and it's like they're going down a whole line of how they're riding down in the country, doing all this stuff, but it's like telling a story, but it's still like they're rapping the whole time. So I know that's one that's definitely made an imprint on me.
Yeah, it's a bunch of songs like that. Yeah, it's hard for me to answer that. You know what I mean? Because usually when I hear people say that, it's usually older people who like, you know, they kind of heard the change, or people that was alive in the 70s when they first heard the Sugar Hill Gang song and stuff like that. But it's like, for me, that's all I knew. You know, I was raised on hip hop, so.
Right. Okay.
But hip hop, like, you know, I don't know. I feel like even a lot of these some of these younger artists who are problematic, it's still hip hop. Like King Von was definitely hip hop. FBG Duck was hip hop. You know what I mean? These are drill rappers from Chicago. Like FBG Duck was nice, bro. That dude was nice. That dude, he was man, he was on another level. I was sad that he died. You know, I had found him like late, or either close to when he died or after. But I was like, man, it sucks that he died, because I
can't hear you, brother. Something happened.
Okay, my bad. My thing went to sleep. I would just see the drill and be like, yeah, I don't need that type of negativity in my life, you know, so I wouldn't really listen. But then when I went to listen to these dudes, it was hip hop. I mean, they were giving you stories. They was talking about the pain of the situation there. They were talking about the real stuff in it. I was getting everything from it. But if you're not listening to it, you don't know that this stuff is still there. So I don't see. Yeah, I don't see. I can't see it. I can't say it's dead. Cause see, another thing for me on hip hop, I feel like hip hop is overblown. Like this whole hip hop, the idea of hip hop is overblown to me, because the thing I don't like about the analysis you get when it comes to hip hop is it's separated from black music. They act like it just sprouted out of nowhere.
No,
You get what I'm
actually,
saying?
no. Well, so real quick, if you actually read any reputable literature on hip hop, particularly peer-reviewed literature, they don't make that claim. They argue that hip hop is an outgrowth of other forms of of black music here in the West.
Yeah, no, definitely. I would expect that from a scholarly perspective, but it's just like, yeah, man, hip hop, and we this, and then when hip hop came out, and you hear people talk about it, it's just separated a lot to me. I don't know. It's kind of separated, like it's so special. I don't know. And don't get me wrong, hip hop is special, but it's just really a continuation of the art form. You could
I
listen
would
to
agree with
old
that.
songs. Yeah, I mean, but you could listen to that. You ever seen that it was viral a bit ago, the dudes from the 40s that basically had a rap song in black, the guys in black and white. I think they were called it was a rap about Noah's Ark. You couldn't tell me it wasn't rap. You couldn't tell me it wasn't a rap song. It was man, I forget the name of the dudes, but he looks like look, it's the dude, he looked like Lil Baby, and they're doing a song. But if you just look like oldest rap song, and you could listen to the song, and they were doing whatever they're calling hip hop, they were doing it then. But they act like, yeah, or even you could listen to Ball of Confusion by the Temptations, and you could see them flowing, and you know. So I don't know. I just feel like it was kind of already going on, and a big part of hip hop, of what's expressed in hip hop, is the blues. And yeah, the blues is really special, because I heard y'all talking about Afrobeat. I liked Afrobeat for a while, but Afrobeat is like empty calories. It ain't really nothing to the music, man. Like they don't. The only one of it's only a couple of them. Like Burna Boy, for instance, he's like got a heavy dancehall hip hop background, so he'll implement. You can hear some of the blues and him trying to express the situation, and following suit with Fela, who, you know, picked up on our music as well. So he'll put that soul into some of the songs.
But most of the songs you listen to this Afrobeat stuff, they ain't talking about nothing. It's just a bunch of nonsense. Like there's
So
really
when you
nothing.
say, let me ask you this question: when you say nonsense, can you provide an example of what you consider to be nonsense?
Okay, it's not nonsense. Nonsense is a bad word. It's
Okay,
there's no depth though. So it's just talking about partying, tricking on women, you know, we just having fun dancing, and pretty much, you know, just nothing,
I
just
got
getting
you.
women. Yeah, they
I
ain't
got
really
you.
talking about nothing.
So let me ask you
I
this
well,
question. So let me ask this question. This goes to Sister Channel, and we really appreciate you being part of the channel, part of the platform, Sister. I hope you can subscribe to the channel, Lumumba Speaks, and you can be a frequent guest. So, as a woman, how do you feel about a lot of female hip hop artists promoting this concept of, in order for a man to be with them, they have to trick or spend money? Any thoughts on that?
The guy. Can you hear me now? Hello?
I can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay. Okay. Basically, 'cause one of the guys mentioned that Sexy Red, how it's like a performance basically she's putting on. So, but like most people, like yeah, it's a performance. Yeah, we can see like that's not how she actually is. But the people that are following her, they're embodying it. Like, oh, this is how we need to be. She's gotten to this level because this is what she does. So they take like what they're saying like literal.
Right.
So that's when like things will start hurting people because well, I mean, I don't know, like it's something I guess we'll see like as time goes because even now many people like relationships aren't really working out too well because people are having certain mindsets towards things and it's just not balancing out because it's not really realistic. It's just a, like you said, it's a character that someone's portraying and we're actually trying to live that way. So honestly, it's something that unless you're able to see, you're just gonna keep on following it because like you can keep on talking, but most people won't even try to like if someone's telling them not to do something that they're already enjoying, they're just gonna keep on doing it until they learn themselves. So that's one thing I've
Right.
learned. You kind of have to sit back and let people just learn themselves at times and just do you. And like I said, you can plant the seed, but just keep it moving.
Understood. Okay. Understood. So, how do you feel about how women are portrayed in hip hop nowadays, in the contemporary moment? Do you like the image of black women in hip hop, or do you take issue with the image of black women in hip hop today?
I mean, I personally, I would take like it's like I don't like it really because like many people were here like complaining about like wanting certain rights for ourselves or wanting things for us as a community, but the way we're carrying ourselves is like it's not serious really. And people like outside they can see that and there's a reason why we aren't taken serious with certain things unless we are portraying ourselves in a certain way. So for me, like it makes me upset, it makes me sad, but it's like one of those things where I don't know, it's like that's that world over there, and then I can go join my own world that's over here because they're gonna keep on like I don't know. It's just something that I can see that it's forming into a thing, and like I said, those that will follow, they'll go that way, and the others will go the other way.
Okay. Any other thoughts?
and I have a little bit of a different angle on it, and it almost feels like it's like some type of social construct psyop. So we know that the world is going through a birth rate problem where you know Americans especially we just not you know women aren't getting pregnant anymore, and um, most of these young men aren't chasing women anymore, going out and having children. So it almost seems like they over sexualizing the atmosphere so they can get like young people to make more babies. It almost seems like some type of social psyop that they're trying to get more babies in the system. I don't know. That's just like the conspiracy theorist in me, because it just seems like everything's getting super sexualized, And I'm hearing all kinds of statistics where there's like 50% of single American men haven't had sex in a year, you know. So I don't know what's going on. If it's something in the food, is it the COVID? But yeah, the birth rates in this country are dropping significantly for all demographics.
I mean, that's intentional. I believe that's there's an effort to drop the birth rates, and the main way they're doing it is by individualizing all these issues. You know, marriage is a community institution, but they've told everybody it's just about you, just do you, go out, make the right decision. But it's like, how do you make the right decision at 19 and all these things like that? You know, if you look back in the day, it was always a family thing. So if there's a guy, he has to be all the men in your family, or like the men around you, are gonna look at this guy and say like, okay, we're gonna evaluate him as men. We can kind of do that, and women do the same thing. But now it's like, oh, mind my business. I'm doing me. Mind your business. And they just individualized these whole things and kind of broke apart all our institutions that were places like, I know you don't like the church, but places like the church where we could
Breaking up on us again.
it was useful. We could implement culture from these places. Um, so yeah, now everything's kind of been broken up. So it's like, yeah, with this individual stuff, you know, things just really aren't making sense. People are making bad decisions. So yeah, I think that's what's really leading to all this stuff.
Okay.
And then feminism. I mean, but feminism is really just everything I'm saying. Feminism is doing that. So yeah, that's the issue.
Sister Channel, what are your thoughts on, and I'm putting you on the spot, but no one knows you. Do you see feminism as a positive or a negative in the Black community? We're kind of pivoting right now from the present conversation, but since he brought up feminism, I just wanted to get your thoughts on it.
I mean, for me, I would say it's definitely something that is hurting, because only in terms of like the overall understanding of, like, I guess, the roles of certain things.
Such
But
as?
because now, like, you'll see people, like, a lot of women, because I would say, like, in the past there'll be like Black women, they're uneducated, whatever, whatever, whatever. But now, so that's why Black women now are like, oh, I need to go to school, I need to have this good job. So like for me, I can kind of see both perspectives on how like this side would be wanting to do this, but I can also see how it's hurting the other side, because there's still, like, as a woman, certain age you get, there's certain like things that you have to, like, not have to, but like, as like nature flows, that's just how things go. So it's just certain things that you do have to pay attention to and remember that it's kind of like your role in a way.
Such
So
as?
like being a mother, like having your home and all that stuff, because you can still, like, now it's like fighting between being a mom and having like this nice job or going to school and stuff, in which in the place we live is like you have to, it's like hard to do both kind of. So
Well, so let me say this. I
mhm.
I work in higher education, and I've come across women of different racial and ethnic backgrounds to where they don't have a problem balancing having a career and being a mother and a wife. That tends to only be an issue that we find in our community, to where women don't believe they could do both.
And that's because of the understanding we have, because many of us are coming from the single mom, and she's like, oh, I'm strong, I did all this, so you can do it too. Then there's still
So,
people that
so,
come from a, mhm.
so let me ask you this: is that an understanding or a misunderstanding?
But it's definitely a misunderstanding,
Okay.
because that's like, like the person would think that's their understanding, but only because that's all they know. So overall, it's a
Because a
misunderstanding.
single parent household is dysfunctional.
Very, yeah, very much.
For example, many people are gonna say, "Well, that's patriarchal." Let me turn my camera on, and hey, you all can turn your camera on too if you want. Maybe we have a better conversation if we can see each other. Some people say that's patriarchal. You have a Western perspective, and I would push back. For example, and I always fall back on traditional African culture, and we know we define traditional African culture as African culture independent of European and Arab influence. When we talk about the Gold Coast, present-day Ghana, if an individual did not marry during their lifetime, they were denied funeral rights. So that's how important the family family was in our traditional culture. So this concept of being a single parent is something that's antithetical to our culture, personality, and way of being. And we know that, unfortunately, the outcomes of single parent households, particularly female-led single parent households, are what? Disastrous in terms of what happens for the children. That is a reality. The data shows this. There's no way around that. So just something to consider.
Yeah, I wanted to throw in too, because she was talking about education. It's funny because I used to be the Emir of Kano in Nigeria. It's a traditional leadership position. There was the Emir named Sanusi, and he was deposed. I actually used to love listening to him talk. He was deposed by the state, but whatever, it has nothing to do with my point. He had made a point because they were dealing with, in the northern Nigeria, you have a strong Muslim culture.
Yes, you
And
do.
yeah, a lot of the women aren't educated. You know, they're married young, and then you know, they're
Right.
just wives, and the men go get
Right.
the money. They're under Sharia law. And he said that if we could fix the population issue, the overpopulation, which would help us with poverty issues, if we would just educate the girl child. And later on, not too long after that, the president or the prime minister of France, I forget the guy's name. I forget his name. Doesn't matter. He was in Africa speaking. He made the same point. He said, "Look at a lot of these women that have all these children. Now, if they were educated, you can't tell me if they were getting education. There's no way that they would be having so many children." So when those two things happened, I realized that you can take something positive and spin it, but really you have an ulterior motive, because we're just looking at, oh yeah, women got to be educated and da da da. It's the right thing to do, but we're not realizing what happens when you do that, right? But there are people who are pushing these narratives and putting millions of dollars behind these things and making sure they pop up on all college campuses, who do understand the things that I just said. So
Right.
just because something sounds good doesn't mean there's not an ulterior motive, and it doesn't mean that the effect of doing that thing is not going to have a worse impact on everyone.
So
So
let me ask you this question. Because yes, I am familiar with the fact that if you educate a woman, you can. There's a higher probability that the woman won't have children. But my issue is, if you don't educate the woman, she's having children, but she's uneducated, and we know that the mother is the first progenitor or first teacher of culture to the child. She won't have anything to teach the child because she's uneducated. So then the child is at a disadvantage. Sister Channel, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, kind of to go back to what you were talking about with how even just like different places on the continent, there was more of like a family dynamic. Like grandma was there, everybody was there basically. So like you're saying, for me, I would take it as like maybe the mom is young, she doesn't know, but she's grown up around her mom, her aunts, everybody. So everybody has a piece to put in. So that's a problem that I see now. Like even myself, my family, everyone's like spread out. They do their own thing.
Right.
So
And so, yeah, exactly. So, because when we talk about traditional African culture, you couldn't do your own thing. If you did your own thing and it was in contravention of the cultural values of that community, you were excommunicated. In fact, you were kicked out the community. You were made a vagabond, a social outcast. Right. But now, hey, you're 18, 19, 20, you're having children. You have nothing to teach the child, but what internalized from the media. And we're seeing this every day now. I saw a clip on YouTube on somebody else's channel where a single mother, once again, was teaching her 8-year-old daughter, how to twerk. And then they put it out for for public consumption on social media.
it's because people in the comments will be laughing like, "Oh, she's so cute." So the mom will be like, "Oh, it's okay," and they just keep going.
Well,
So
but I don't think it has anything to do with the comments. I think it has to do with the values of the mother.
yes,
The fact that you're even teaching your child to twerk is an issue, period. But once again, this is what happens. If the mother isn't educated, she's going to teach the child in a manner that is dysfunctional and unhealthy.
Well, Chanel's point is a good point because basically she's adding the cultural element to it. She's
There's
doing
no
that for the
cultural
attention.
element to twerking.
Well, no, because there's if you did that, you're doing it for the attention of the people who are watching. See what I'm saying? So because you have an audience for it, that's why you're doing it to
But
get
no,
that
I'm not
pop.
talking. I'm not. But I'm not talking about the fact that she put it out for public consumption. I'm talking about the fact that she's teaching her daughter to behave in this manner.
No, I get that. I get that. I guess the
Yeah.
point, I don't know what to speak for her, but yeah, the point, the issue is that there's people supporting this behavior.
Right.
Aside from just this woman and her education, and I would disagree. I mean, what is her education like? You know what I mean? My grandma didn't even graduate from middle school, and she know better than that. They ain't got
Right.
nothing to do
Well,
with
so
education.
education is what? Formal and informal. Right. So education is formal and informal.
And we
Right,
coming
formal.
into an era where we seeing these girls, these uneducated women who have a OnlyFans page, making $20,000 a month, while a woman with a master's degree is barely making $70,000 a year. So I think there's more emphasis or more reason to be ratchet or and uneducated if you're trying to be a single independent woman than it is to be an educated woman. Just the cost to benefit ratio, it just isn't there in the corporate America that we live in today.
Absolutely. So we're going to get ready to close out, family. So final thoughts, Mr. Sandman, Sister Channel, and then Brother Mufasa, and then we're going to call it a night.
Oh, you said me go first?
Yes, sir.
Oh, right. Yeah, man. Yeah, just like I said, you know what I mean? Yeah, hip hop may be dead, but rap music isn't dead. So, this drill music, just call it what it is. It's drill music. It's just a subset of rap music, but it's not hip hop. So, yeah, hip hop might be dead in the mainstream, but I think there are a few hip hop artists underground. You just gotta search long and hard to find them. And it's unfortunate that we don't have really time to a lot of us don't have the time to look for them and to find them underground, but it's still there. But yeah, in the mainstream, there's a new genre of rap music, and there's drill, and there's some other music. I don't know what they really call it, but yeah, hip hop is dead on the mainstream, but it's not dead underground.
Gotcha. Sister Channel.
I would kind of just piggyback off of what he's saying. Also, it's just like what's on, like put in the face is there, but I wouldn't consider that to be like what hip hop is if they're gonna define hip hop. Like he's saying, if you're a person that loves music, you're not just gonna listen to one thing. So you'll just go and search, and you can find, you'll hear the difference. So it's like, I don't know, just two different sides. If you're gonna go to the new stuff, I wouldn't consider that, but there's music out there that is still good for you.
Very good. Brother Mufasa.
Yeah, I would just say that I don't think hip hop is dead. I think, but I do think they are doing a great propaganda job to blow up the negative elements of hip hop. And even when, like, if you look at certain artists like a Sexy Red, their numbers, if you look at them, aren't even as big, but they make it seem like these people are way bigger than they are, because this is the same negative propaganda, the same Jezebel propaganda they've been doing since we were on the slave plantation. And I think the biggest issue with that, the biggest issue that hurts us, it's not necessarily that people are going to go and just copy off that and do what she's doing. There's some that will, but you have to be in a certain position to even do that. You have to be in a certain environment to even mimic that behavior, right? But it's more so the negative self-image that it gives us. You know what I mean? It's just another one of those things where it's like, we got to stop killing each other. And it's like, bro, I've never killed anybody. Most people don't even kill anybody or delete people. If you just look at the numbers, it's not even close. It's like a very small percentage. But we constantly, we out here deleting each other, and black people ain't ish. And it's that psyop that they've been doing. And that's the biggest thing. So I would say one of the biggest things you could do is point that out. Just really point that out and highlight some of the positive stuff. And you know, just put it in its context. This is an ongoing thing. They're going to constantly put negative propaganda out to make us feel bad about ourselves, and to continue other people to you know, continue to pull the wool over these other people's eyes, make sure they're racist, make sure they see us in a certain way, so
Right.
they can justify our position instead
You
of
know,
just looking at the truth of what's done to us. So yeah,
Malcolm
that's
X
what I'm
talked
saying.
about that as well. Good point, brother. Good point. Good point. Yeah, Malcolm X talked about. So, family, appreciate you all tuning in. Once again, Mr. Sandman, Brother Mufasa, Sister Channel. You're always welcome on my platform. Make sure you subscribe, like, and follow. And once again, family, if you all haven't had the opportunity, I'm actually going to put the link in the chat. Make sure you check out my article on hip hop titled, it's in the chat, but here's the, and you can follow me on Medium and the open letter to hip hop. I used to love her. That's a play on, of course, Common's song, I Used to Love Her. The link is in the chat. Make sure you follow me on Medium. Until next time, y'all know what to do. Always bet on black. Peace.